Hello everyone, welcome to Trend Talks, the Solarplaza initiative, where we share with you lessons learned and visions of market leaders and industry experts in order to accelerate the renewable energy transition. I'm proud that in today's session, I have a chance to speak with Gerard Reid. Gerard, welcome.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Gerard, just to introduce yourself, he is co-founder and partner of Alexa Capital. He has developed a strong reputation as a leading global expert in the renewable energy and mobility space. Worked for 15 years in investment banking. He's a member of the World Economic Forum's Global Future Energy Council, co-host of Redefining Energy, and we know Gerard as a visionary speaker on M&A, PV, and electric mobility. Okay, Gerard, welcome again. And let's take off with a question. With this crisis, what do you think does this mean for energy going forward and the energy transition in general?
Oh, listen, I think we've reached an inflection point. And the inflection point really is away from fossil fuels towards clean energy. I think we saw yesterday Shell, for the first time in 75 years, not pay a dividend. That was number one. And number two, the other thing that you're seeing is really the destruction of the US oil and gas industry. I mean, we've seen minus prices for oil and gas, for both. This is just something I don't think people could have predicted. We just don't have enough storage capacity in the world. And no matter how much OPEC cuts production, it's still going to be a long time before we see the oil market balance again.
So this is going to mean a boost for renewable energy?
Well, that's a good question, because the other problem that we have is in renewable energy, we're seeing minus power prices across continental Europe. And that's an issue going forward. So what we have is we're living in an era of too much energy. And I think that's a challenge also for renewable energies going forward. Who's going to build a wind turbine or a solar park when you're really not sure if you're actually going to be curtailed, or if you have to pay someone to take your electricity? That's the environment we're in. Now, that said, I'm much more positive about renewables than I would about oil and gas. And the reason is because we're going to electrify everything going forward. I mean, that's one thing that you take out of this crisis, is that the trends that were in place are being sped up. And the first one is digitalization, right? If you look at it, we're all using Zoom, we're using Microsoft Teams. This is going to speed up digitalization, and that, for digitalization, you need electricity. And the second thing that you're also going to see is the electrification of the automobile speed up as well. I found it quite ironic this week to look and see Daimler, they're ultimately a profit warning this week, and also applying to the German government for support through this crisis. And then on the other side, we see Tesla's numbers come out, and they're record numbers. And so, and the point there is, it's not about the corona crisis. It's about the fact that people don't want Daimler's products as much as they wanted in the past. So I think that's very clear that trend will speed up. And I think the other thing that will eventually happen is we will also electrify heat and other industrial processes. So as I said, electricity is a good place to be. So I think long term, the trend towards renewables is intact.
So you will see that there will an increase in demand for electricity, but at the same time you see that prices are going down. So who is going to finance these new renewable energy projects? Now, is there appetite to finance renewable energy projects if you have this uncertainty on the market?
So I think where you're going to see renewable projects being done is one where you have government support schemes in place. And number two, where really the economics of it makes a huge amount of sense. And that means you're looking at countries and areas where there is not a surplus of power, or where power is too expensive. So if I take the case of, say, a lot of continental Europe, where you have a lot of taxes and charges on electricity, I can imagine there being a lot of solar rooftop being built over the next few years, because it makes really economic sense to do that. But I do believe just a lot of the PPA projects that we thought might be coming in Europe, I think there's going to be less of them going forward until we see what's going to happen with electricity demand.
So will that mean a temporary pause in the development of these renewable energy projects?
I think it will, definitely. I mean, listen, there's the projects that are being built this year are already probably have either PPAs in place, or they have some financing in place, or they have some form of government scheme before them, so they'll get done. The question, of course, is what's going to happen next year and the year after that. And I can imagine there's a slowdown unless we see, significant regulatory change to support the renewable build out.
Yeah. Is there a trend where you are particularly excited about, apart from this development and getting out of oil? But is there another trend that you're excited about?
Well, I'm very clear in my head now that, listen, we've been in the solar space for many, many years. It's just solar costs are going to continue going down, and the performance of solar panels is going to increase. So I'm very clear in my head that, we will build the 21st century power system around low cost solar. And that might seem a bit mad, but if we were back here 100 years ago, we were building a system around base load power. That's what we did, because we realized, okay, you've got a coal generator and we need to run it 90% of the time. That's why we built the system the way it is. And if you don't run a coal plant 90% of the time, they're very expensive to run. Well, we're in a different world today. And combined with digital technologies, I think it's very possible that solar really becomes the dominant electricity source, in the coming decades.
All right, very interesting. Then we have the question of our previous guest in the Trend Talks, and that is very specific and very particular on your own company. What is your plan at your company level to come to a zero carbon now, with the emphasis on now, if we have to do it fast?
Well, so we've already done that at a company level. But what we've done it through carbon offsets. So we buy carbon offsets. We've measured the carbon footprint of everybody in the organization, and putting down forests and stuff like that, and building solar parks to offset that. However, what I will say, Edwin, just from a personal perspective, and I think a lot of other people that I'm speaking to say the same thing, is that it's not enough, probably. It's not enough to just do carbon offsets. What we actually have to do is live more sustainably. And I definitely can see that I'm going to be traveling a lot less than I did in the past, because what I realize is I should be embracing these digital technologies like Zoom and Microsoft Teams and stuff like that. And I will. And I think other people will do the same.
All right, good. Well, final question is then for our next guest, whoever that may be. That's the surprise. Well, what is the question you would like to have answered, Gerard?
Oh, how are these oil and gas companies going to make this transition?
Wow, that's a nice one. Gerard, I'd like to thank you very much for being with me in this Trend Talks interview, and I hope to see you back in one of our live events or in new virtual events very soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.